Today is Sunday, the 12th of February of the year 2023. I'm talking about the word of the week, which is healing. And the second week of the month always talks about that which is within, inside, what composes the construct of the self. It could be of a person or of a social entity, of the self, of anything that has a identity and uniformity as such. It can be complex inside and have other inner circuits, parts of the self, but they all compose and will fight to defend the self or mediate to have the self greater and bigger, to that which is inside, within, the feeling or informational thought which might come with feeling or not. I also wanted to say that because one is thinking of something, it doesn't mean it is your thought. It doesn't mean it's your feeling. And many times, that's why some people like to be alone, because other people are manipulating and they want you to think in this way, they want you to feel in that way. So sometimes you do not know if this is really you. Is this really your thoughts? Are these really your emotions, or are you fooling yourself to be fooled because you're interested in these forms of belief that have been applied to you and you have accepted them because you follow it. But if you walk out of it and you do meditation, of course, if you're working with practical things where you gain money, it's reasonable and it's obvious and it's more pragmatic. But sometimes information can get so chaotic that at least you can all share that from all the sides and all the parties to give a greater time to form a reconstruction and a better self. So those are not ideas floating around, they're going through you, which the self is constantly moving as well as it needs to breathe and have sunlight. Well, it's very frustrating to see that the ashram in India is being for sale. But I told many international therapists who were like rock stars there because I grew up with them, so I was part of them many years. So I said, well, but Osho will want this to explode. I said once to Devapath because he was saying that I was in a cocoon because I was working with my mother. I said, I'm working to my mother to bring you because if I'm not here, you wouldn't be here either. And I said, perhaps it is you who is in the cocoon of the ashram. You came out from the belly of your mother, from the school, from your university as a doctor, and then from the ashram. And I told him, of course, this was in the private, where is respect. The Osho might have wished for all of us to explode than to just to be there. Hiding in the middle of India in an ashram. So he's now in Taiwan. When I saw him in New York City 14 years ago, he came to do a therapy group. On a dinner with his girlfriend. I gave the girlfriend a lot of magazines and to him a book of American politics, very big. And he said, I like more her magazines, they look more fun. And I look at him and I said, you do like power. And it is part of energy as well to understand. I mean, I didn't tell him what to do. We love each other. Some people thought we had something, but it was a universal love, and we never disrespect each other as if wanting to do something or not, because that was never. Because being with Osho opens up not to everyone, but like through meditation, it is another quality of love. He said he wanted to work with China. On that time, he had a girlfriend from Mexico that organized for him. She was very jealous, and all the organizers from around the world, because my mother was one of the best, if not the best. That was 'cause my mother would put them on TV, on magazines. They would be naming the soap operas with the evil rich who would go to the international therapists in the books of Osho. But because in the soap operas they paint the very rich as the evil ones, and to the guy, there was there were many letters from women, because women didn't want to follow the same story all the time. Yeah, the poor girl with the rich guy who's always stupid, manipulated by all these women. That's the soap opera of South America. So the rich girl would be sharing books of Osho and very like fancy. Uh, but it's funny because the rating comes from the poor people, which is 85%. So they have to give it, and I, w- I would say to the employees, like, we're not bad people, like in the soap opera, because they would terrify when they would come to work for the first time with us. Uh, my mother, look at them, like, what am I going to do now? My mother has been always a very good teacher. Uh, I will say that rich people can be terrible, especially the middle class wannabe. The worst. They're the worst. They're so disgusting that if you lose money, if you lose everything in your life, you'd rather be alone than having to deal with this. Because, I mean, you can be quiet for a long time, but it's better to not even see it. I will always pretend that I will work as an employee, but some people mistreat workers so much that they didn't know I was the daughter of the owner. So I would say, yeah, I'll call the owner. Of course, I am sorry, but these are the rules, because they would get offended. In countries like in Venezuela, especially, and you can see this with some immigrants who are newly rich. But there were a lot of power trips when Osho died, people fighting for power among sannyasis, people who meditate as well. Because I was a teenager when Osho died and I was 17 and I was there in India. I could see they all, because we always tease the adults, the teenagers, because they were, we would tease them how they meditate, how would they dance. We really hated them for making us force us to be in India for so long with cows and bicycles. And we have fun with each other, but there was a part of all of us who who hate them, all of these adults, hippie, because we could have been in our society doing the things that we really wanted to do. So we would be always mocking them. We were not very mature as to know consciously how much we hated them. It's part of every generation to dislike your parents when they are. But if Osho said to dance death, as if it's the last day of your life, to celebrate death. That if you do not celebrate death, you cannot transform anything. And the day he died, there were people crying and shouting. There was nobody dancing. There was a darshan, so everybody was dressed in white, and I was dressed in black because my boyfriend had organized a party in the disco there. That was so I had kind of like a Spanish skirt that was all black, and Aloka came shouting, saying that he passed away with horror, and I was like, "What's the big deal? Like, why we're shouting like that?" And the poster fell down of his picture. And that day we went to the marketplace, 15 minutes in the rickshaw to buy flowers. I guess we brought other things, but we look at each other because we have placed those flowers in front of the big poster that was of him. That's why I don't have pictures of him, because in between the 3 days he died, all his pictures would fall down, and there were paranormal. The statue that was being built with his face cracked, all cracked by itself. I will ask people, and they would say confirm, but was nothing moving. It this is why I felt that he wanted us to let go of him in many of his discourse, to let go of him. And when he died, I understood, because it would repeat the same pattern and again and again and again. Again, I would say this. I have many pictures in my mind of that day and night that will come again and again, where I would notice, but Aloka wouldn't notice. She would see it and look at me like, wow, but she wouldn't notice the whole thing, like the relation to all. But Osho talked about it all the time, like preparing us to move on. So I was the only one dressed in black. And I was like, oh my God, I look like a witch here. Only the therapists wear black because you can transmute the darkness and the heavy energies. You can transmute them and suck them in. And you have the strength and the maturity to make them part of you. Most of healers die because they cannot transmute, or they're doing that all the time. They talk about cleansing and all this, but that's why I'm not a healer. Because the sickness returns, the pathology returns. I guess there is a little bit of consciousness that the person could have had by just having a witness. And that consciousness could flourish just to observe. It's not a judgment to fight for, or that is going to send you to hell or to a jail or to prevent more suffering. It's simply becoming aware. So we have a lot of stigma because of the ways we treat judgment in the past. We put families in a courtroom as criminals, people who have mental illness, people who don't have money and socioeconomical, and they have too much pressure in courtrooms with social workers picking on you, insulting you, telling you what to do. Even the psychiatrist is the only person who wants to help you and sees you breastfeeding, wishing to do the best for your baby, and having all the world against you. I mean, all the world. Social workers, judge, the director of social worker in Spain saying, well, it had to happen to somebody. So social workers don't know mental illness. They would judge somebody because it looks good. There is a pimp, would not understand he had a car accident. And the psychiatrist is being threatened as well by social workers. Children are vulnerable. In the ashram too, I could see that Osho had no interest in children because it could die. Children wouldn't maintain that. It was just for him, like, for the moment, just his books and meditations. They all sold him out in the Netflix documentary. I knew it as a child looking at this guy, his lawyer. Like, why you give all this power to this person just because he's a lawyer? He's the first one to stab you in the back. And people will say, well, because he's very polite, and you cannot have people ruling who are emotional and rightful. You have so yeah, but this is the first person who is going to steal all the money once he's dead. Not him, but everyone who could put their hands on. But that's why people started to leave, because all these power trips. The first who left were the ones who had enough money to make out their own. But it was not about that. My mother made her own too. Everyone made their own. I made with 25 years old in New York City computer system to have an internet, all the centers of around the world, and how you could just get to know your closest center to do meditation. It was a beautiful work, working with my mother in her Osho oasis. It was never an ashram or a community, it was hers, because the old ways will always return to be the old ways. People are born corrupted and meant to die corrupted. It's something I have to accept, that perfection doesn't exist. I could have lived in paradise. I could have lived not just with Osho, the good moments with my mother and father, my friends. Doing my works. Healing is the art of death when it comes to meditation. Not everyone is willing to lose themselves, their ego, to lose what you think you are. It doesn't mean it's going to die, it's always going to be there. Uh, One has to step forward and beyond. That's why people continue copying and eating from others, because they don't have the advantage. Only there you can trust that there's a better version of yourself. Somewhere to be found. So, I miss the meditation. I miss leading meditations of Osho. I would just be there. I would never tell people what to do. I'll have people for me as well. And I'm very grateful. I wish my daughter Debbie knew about the meditations, because she's too much in the mind, searching for truth, studying. But it is the meditation with the body that can free you in other ways. This is what I thought in Pune, when I was done everywhere after Osho died and before. Would stand alone for many minutes just to see how much more silence could I have, like a test of just watchfulness. And what would have been for me to serve? People would not come to do meditation. They would not let go. They would not surrender into a path of experiencing, letting go. So, role play, mm, virtual reality is the only way where people can transcend without knowing they are. It's like a trick. They might want to become this and that with the world of illusion. They will want to be many things with desire and long craving. But I don't want to make this a philosophical story, because it has a technical movement as well. It's, it's very it's better for me to be very shallow and not say much, because thieves of thieves and those who have paid, they have passed the test, right? That's how it all begins again. Walking up the mountain, going down the river. So there might be different circuits of internet which cannot be interconnected. 'Cause maybe people will have to pass from one dimension to another once they have passed that. Because maybe not all the tech giants are going to be in one. And maybe the world also is going to be split as this war continues. Not only the young generations are not learning to role play and mediate through internet, not just virtual reality, with the system that I have found, because I have created it, but I have found it at the same time, because of movement. You can make 1,000,000,000 patterns to this. Keep watching perverts do, thinking you're superior. Like if you're raping a child or a woman and she's just crying and saying, no, no, don't do this, stop doing this, stop hugging me, stop trying to copy from me, stop taking from me. You are one of them. You're one of them who talk bad about women, in the private and in the public and jokingly. I wanted to say to the girls to don't change their sex, sexuality. I wish I could just, but we have to relate and we have to make these understandings to come through. This is something that democracy has, and it has to reach to all the people, not just a few. People are not gonna go meditate. They're not gonna go to church to confess. They're not gonna go to internet to search the spiritual path, pilgrimage to become a better person. They're not gonna go and do all the sins online, at least to see the sins they're hiding within their deepest core, the informational tissue within the body and DNA. It is there as a receptor or a giver, as a victim or a victimizer. I am very good catching criminals because I have walked the streets of crime. Dark. I say it like a joke because I don't want to talk about it, but it is true. I camouflage among criminals, and they treat me as one of them. And I've taken many out of crime. But people like me don't exist. Sometimes I think I was born as a role player because I'm being always playing. It looks like these people that drop crumbles are like those that throw the ball to a dog, right? The perverts that throw crumbles on the dark net. So they get the clues and the links to get there to see the pervert things of this dark world. And you can enjoy them a lot in virtual reality. not like a monologue. These stories are nothing compared to real role plays that go on for years. Stories that have multidimensional plays from all the players, and they all fit as a puzzle. The stories, because they are playing with the rules. So I can make interviews, and they would say it. They might not notice the pattern, but they can testify. It's funny how to see how they have played with Marvel and put all this for the multiverse. The multiverse didn't exist when Thanos was there and all this saga with the movies. This never existed before. This is being corrupted as well. It was later on, because each gem represented a world. But the elite also, they tell the Marvel what to do. Bill Gates, Prince William can change it in 1 second, from one day to the other. Change this for this character and there to this other character, this other alias out because it's Nazi and he's regarded with the, and then they put on the Great Mother. They changed it because I had this character as well. This looks crazy, but they're doing all this without consciousness at all of how it works. They're stealing from it and doing whatever they want. So it's hurting to see how much power they can have to steal and copy. It's gonna be the same story every day, anyways, until something happens, starts rolling. So it's very boring to have to say the same story in different ways. I don't find a healing to it, really. Seems like it's gonna be sick forever. And nobody's win as much money as they could multiply so much. Not just for themselves, but for the world. Because so many people, there's so many people that can be turned into activity to higher their senses through activity. So These are places that have a system of its own. It kind of works as Facebook is or Twitter is. None of this. It has a system of its own. It hurts me having to deal with this. By the way I'm being treated. I just wish to go home and recover everything that's been stolen, including my work, to see it shine with everyone that is involved. But I'm not gonna give it so an asshole says it's his invention. Like, for example, I tell to people, no, this person didn't invent that. He's not a genius. I explain them, look, this is how it happened. No, this person didn't invent it. No. He was intelligent enough to know that it will work. This was good material. They're not the intelligent ones, they're the smart ones. It's not a genius. So it's incredible to see all this news. So I still have to that is very beautiful that Charlotte inherits Diana's tiaras. A beautiful grandmother. She gave herself for William to be more renowned. She gave herself in this story. She didn't want to be a boring couple. She wanted more show. And her death was part of a transformation as well. Not to judge anyone at all, because they represent a generation of love beyond the old style of the monarchy. So they did their best. Healing is that, is transforming beyond death. Healing is letting go of sickness. We belong, this sickness are part of ourselves. Sickness have an intelligent form of its own, and we have them as part of us. So it's part of our ego. I don't know what my theory to be on the name of anyone, but mine, my name. There are other people involved, of course, many. It also needs to be proven by those who don't know it. It's very annoying to be talking the same thing. Oh well, there it goes. If sickness rules the world, and the more sickening one to make another world in Mars, without helping this world, without trusting in humanity, you must be then not a hero. You're not a hero. You're a coward who wants to run away from this world and cheat everyone. Think you get away with it. Yeah, in one side you give the hand, and in the other one you shake hands for money. It's all incoherent. Nobody sees the reality. What are you really doing for this world? You're doing what it sells because it sells. It's innovating. Everybody loves that tendency, whatever is tendency, what is ahead. But hiding is hiding. Hiding the metaverse, where it comes from, knowing. That's why assholes have to be hidden. So we can only talk about good things, right? Make sounds attractive. So smell beautiful. To cover up with perfumes. Take more drugs and alcohol. Or have some bitches who do that to tolerate you. Have them crying for you, for your time. What a loss, a waste of time, really. So, this is the map of Europe. And it must be from the 80s. I don't think it says when it was printed. Thankfully, Ukraine is not here, and we didn't have those news by then. This is when people were happy in Europe. There were no Muslims. Look at how beautiful. There it is. There it is. So, there it is. There is Ibiza. From Ibiza, it goes right down to Algeria. Alger. It's very hard to make something beautiful there, but it could be. Just just to think of how much they hide their clothes and how this is I never thought about it, just to go and swim and having all these people that put so much clothing so you cannot even take the sunshine. This month I had to study Burundi, so I was 2 years studying the map of the world with the lockdown and the political. So one of my theories is that one cannot help the countries that are in conflict, but one could make mansions into villages around until that country is in peace. The country has to choose peace, no matter the how's it gonna end. They have to want peace by all costs, and one should never interfere or help because one is promoting the war more than and to be in the borders if people want to get out. But there's a long way to go because of the investment of the number one business in the world on weapons of mass destruction. The number one business. And all those behind it supporting that or being silenced. There are actually many people in the elite who wishes peace, and they say they cannot control things because that's how they are. One should never feel special or belonging to a secret society. If you have to condone this, I don't mean to humiliate publicly or put in a jail, but to stop it. Human violence is going to continue, but through meditation, transmutations of an inner world, not only your tissue in reality, but the way that your body operates is going to transform rapidly. We can be aware of our body, how it moves. When it is sick, if you feel like vomiting, it's because you are seeing so much shit. Like you cannot swallow all this information. It's disgusting. So if you're not aware, so some people are born to love a lot. Some people have the chance to really enjoy who they are without the fear of what they think. And this is a gift for humanity as well. In the most transcendental way of being just honest to oneself and letting yourself shine as the genius you really are. We are not just one psychological trait or two. We're infinite. That's why the multiverse has to be called the multiverse, not meta. Because meta is again a totalitarian symbol. It looks like colonists. It looks like those who are supreme, and of course there is for all those who wish to go to those paths. But when you want to bring everyone on board, it's not the name that is going to sell. That is a meta shit. There is only one verse called meta for those. Yeah. So it is not never gonna work in this earth, which you have multiple infinite ways. Only God is meta. To call it meta is too pretentious. And that's how people are gonna back off, and they're gonna keep fighting. The Chinese, the Russian, everyone is gonna keep fighting. Just call it the multiverse. And then you will understand that it's not just about you. You cannot get a big piece of cake. And this is gonna be fought by everyone. So it's a multiverse. This is why you keep fighting against me and don't give me my percentage. When I have created it, I send it to you. You only had a video game and you copy the we, moving the body. That's it. Video game is not virtual reality. It's never been. And I have studied law for artists, patents. There are other ways to have patents, and I have copyrights and have track of everything you have done. The thing is that if I follow that path, I would be following the path of non-friendliness. So only a friend can call you an asshole as many times. This is among us. So this is a fight from the new generation to the older, in a circle where I'm inviting you. Yeah, you thought you had your inner circle. No, I am inviting you to virtual reality. No one else. Do you play other characters, or you just play characters in got stuck in character? No, very well. If you play characters but all your characters play for your main character, you're still stuck on character. You have not moved on. It is great. You're famous. Fantastic. Many portals, many realms, many characters, many verses. So well, it's very boring to be talking the same thing over and over. So I guess there is no healing. There is no breakthrough. Because why would somebody live in the same sickness on and on? I don't roleplay in real life. I roleplay only virtual reality. Also brought roleplay into New York City in the realm of the night and fantasies. Those times people were too square. They laughed and lied, but they were still too square. That in the United States of America, they were dry like a stick to have any imagination. I mean, it's not been easy. So roleplay has been done in therapy groups so people can go and recover a memory by playing these acts. And I was gonna read something, but it's too kinky. I got this book about healing, Chi health cycle. I need to read a little more, just to say other words. So life is short. I think that you think to be smarter than me and that you won't get away with it, and you just want to show this off. because you cannot face it yourself. So I need another person that can talk about it and knows how to talk about technology and already has a lot of followers. So I think Elon Musk would be the right person to talk about virtual reality. That's what I thought already, like what, half a year ago. So, or 1 year and a half ago, whatever. When I said bring him to me, Mark Zuckerberg doesn't have any imagination at all, and he's not the face of it. He will never be. I never wrote his name or Facebook or anything. Right? I said for everyone to be there, but not like this is a joke, bad joke with no laughter. Is bad publicity, but it's like, well, it's better than nothing, right? At least people are talking about it. It's like, why? He's like, why do you need bad publicity? Why do you need bad publicity with the royalty? As much as I love the royalty, it just hurts me because it's been so hurting that it's just everyone hurts just to see them. It's been already like enough. I want some good stories there. Cannot even educate the press. People need to do catharsis. They have to do them in virtual reality. They will get used to it instead of watching TV, movies. They will go there and join their book. Video game that is made by incels. It's never going to work. You only have 3 poor choices. That is not creative. I'm tired. I'm tired of saying this again and again. And also, H.G. Tudor has the best voice to talk about the rules, because how you call it, Mr. Tweet's too busy tweeting and with his rockets in the star. He's too busy joking about his dick and other people's rockets, if they get it up or not. He's too busy with 𝙬𝙬𝙪𝙧𝙤, too busy with making tunnels under the earth, with what chips in the brain, or I don't know what else. I don't see him compromise to virtual reality, but he would talk about it to show off, but not because he cares. I mean, as long as he can tweet about it and joke and always create a defense because he's so funny with a meme. I mean, it's just really like, I've been years fighting against memes in the realm of roleplay because it breaks the tissue of storylines, and it has nothing to do with. I have a lot of problems already in roleplay because I started to emerge with new people. So instead of fighting them, I have to write the rules to try to get help. And of course, I knew I was going to have more problems, but at least it would be worth the try. So I'm not a little girl. If I had magic powers, I would turn myself into a little girl, a little boy that comes from another world, maybe from outer space, and say, look, this, so I don't look like a threat. Because in all these characters that have superpowers, you can never get close to them because they always feel intimidated. And they always want to fight you because they have the power. So you have to bring these characters who are very little. Also, we have test millions of characters. Which characters match which you have no idea. You have to do them yourself. This is what some jobs you cannot do as you are, and others can. And you have to appreciate everyone that is doing the role. It makes a benefit to it as they can, as brothers, sisters. So that's it. It's very technical. I wish I come like a little fairy and say it in a silly way. This way. So I am not a threat because everyone is a threat because you have so much power. Yeah, yeah. You talk from the distance. Nobody wants to come first. You want to share a third party. Only triangulate among omnipotent characters. That's why I came myself and I say, yeah, there is positive triangulation. Triangulate me. Use me to triangulate me. So I can sell this. It shouldn't be a marketing thing. I'm really against marketing, but I guess it is. This is not the way to promote anything, really. It should have never been. I had two options or Bill Gates responds to me and say, hey, Patricia, this is great. Come to me and explain me the rest. And we sign, that's it. There would have not been a war. It would have not been called metaverse. Countries would have come together and say yes. Everyone would have said yes already. There would have been a war. Russia would have said, of course, the multiverse. We're part of this multiversity, the multicultural, multipolitical. Move on. I have to deal with people from the old age who still carry the Bible, who still do the things of the times of the Bible and think to be right because they carry the Quran and the Bible and this other old book in China. Like, give me a break, please. Please. You're gonna sell all this what to the Facebook guy because he's a better twat than me? This is my work. You have to harass Instagram to buy Instagram. That's how you get things, right? It's incredible. You're not gonna be strong enough to deal with it. No, I am already. I'm dealing with it for 2 years. It's not that I have to. I'm already dealing with it for 2 years and 18 years. Start with the same play. Hey, I don't need help. No, what do you want to do with me? So they're all like, it was not easy for me to build the lost city of Petra and to make an alliance with all the groups. So they are masters or allies because they didn't want to be involved because they wanted to have their own empire with their own players. To be part of the lost city of Petra, where that was the military resort to teach masters and disciples role play. This is not the role play of the cards of Dungeons and Dragons. It comes from there. It does come from there. I learned to play that in boarding school in England, in Caution School in Devon. Charlotte. I cannot pronounce it. Never will, because it's something that I refused to do as a teenager, because being a Spanish girl was like, I was intolerant to English. It cost me a lot to merge within the English verse. When you know two languages, you can You never lose your mother language. The same happens when you move on learning another path. You move beyond your character. So it hurts to stretch the limits of your origins, but all that hurt is an illusion because you're fighting against. Afraid to be eaten, to be swallowed in a vortex, and to never come back again. Which of course that will happen, and many don't return. Why they don't return? Because they see how fake they were. It's like when Osho would say these stories from China that when the master says to the disciple, once you see how heavy the stones that you're carrying in your pocket are, and how light it is to walk without them, and you realize that you don't need them, but you put so much value with these stones, you can always pick them up and put them back in your pocket. But when you become aware, you say, oh, actually, you know, for everyone, they can multiply themselves. So if you see a way of having less effort, well, I can do the same with all the countries at the same time. I can have hotels with the help of United Nations, for example, at the same time, follow up the same process of opening a Telsa factory, however you call that. Why? Because you have a process and everyone can follow it at the same time. More or less, at least. Some countries are too small to have. They can learn from others and be a better person. If you become a better person, but why do it one by one when you can do them all at the same time? So now you put attention. Yeah, why? Because it interests you, not because you have a great heart. Because you tweet so well, have so many good followers. Bravo! I guess you need that every day. So well, it makes good publicity to talk about virtual reality. But Jordan Peterson can study with its doctors, psychiatrists, psychologists will never get it because they will just want to spit it out before they got the clue, because they are not scientists, they are not doctors. That's why I hate psychologists. I've always hated them and I always will. Dr. Peterson is a good spoken man and he needs to relax a little bit from things he doesn't need. If he loses his title or he recovers it or follows up, just stop fighting for that. Enjoy your life. Anyways, they're going to disapprove with a lot of things, anyways. And why bother about being so negative online, shouting about so many rights that need to be fixed, but it's not the way to be. Jordan Peterson has become very ugly in these last 2 years. He was very handsome before, only in 2 years. So you can recover the skin, something about the skin that needs to get more like puffy. It's like, I don't know what kind of diet is that. Well, really, anyways. However, it's not for the looks, it's for how it feels. Tweeting so much negativity. Just invest in your creativity and All this work. Why would they destroy statues of the past? Everyone was a working person, not a slave. Everyone had to belong to, and we still do. They have to respect history. There was no misogyny in the past. In the past, women had their period. They couldn't go too far. They couldn't go 2 blocks away for too long. They had to wash their panties. They could get pregnant with nothing. Women had to take care of themselves. They were lucky to have men to work for them, and they would just put hours in looking good and making the house beautiful. Lucky them. They could be with each other and have friends around 40 or just working in the field and singing. Those were the times. People have to respect the history. It should be illegal to destroy any statue. Like, that was work. Slavery was the work of the times. This have to be known because they have to work. They have to work. I have worked so much. Like, it's now that I am not working really. I'm in my bed thinking if it's gonna work, if should I get up or not? Because what does it really need for it to work? What is the greatest impulse? I don't think it's in my hands though. I don't think it's in a cosmic star or I don't know who is the person really that is going to start to prove it because it already exists. But that can only happen with me, and I'm not gonna give it for free. It is if I had children, I would never give it in the hands of pedophiles, liars, and abusers. I could understand they're the only ones who can do it. They're the only ones who can do it. That's why I'm gonna be there watching that it grows pure. It grows pure and matures good enough because it has a lot of dark place and gray place. And its laws are very precise and they are very simple. So they gravitate. So we have a mess right now in roleplayer.me. So even if you get there and you try to get how the script works, you're never gonna find it. First of all, my people will never give it for free because they're being part of this as well. And they have not really seen the pattern. They could remember it. They have to be brought in presence, at least one person or two. One is in Seattle and the other one is in Canada. So they can prove it because they were there. So beautiful people as well. So what is the need to What is the need to continue accepting the past ways? If you already enter paradise, if you want to reach the stars, you would have passed through the mountain of the purgatory. And pay consciously. It means to pay consciously. You don't have to be a Christian or follow anyone, but become aware, for fuck's sake. They are not the only one. There is something greater than you. So, to restore the planet, create factories that have like a town that people can relax and be active with many jobs around, not just in the factory. They can rotate their jobs. And boost up the confidence, embrace change. So there are different architectures to do, but this should happen automatically everywhere around the world with a map of the globe. And you have to have that program so it is monitored happening at the same time in all these places around the world. So you don't have to work over it. It's been followed by the same and it's been followed by the same process. So you're working the same thing at the same time with everyone. They can help each other as well. So without making it too complicated, because it's not so hard to find a land and to do this and that, just do it. Everyone can start at the same time. So much industry the world needs, but at the same time to respect the environment. So be it. And I wish the world knows that the Illuminati have an inner war where there is one team against the other. Um, it's gonna be very hard for those who want to be famous forever. There are other ways of saying sorry without saying what you did. You cannot tell people who are very intelligent because they are intelligent enough to form the way to say it themselves. So we can also have mistakes and learn from that way to say it to others as well, because it takes a lot of time in this earth to do such mistakes. But the world consider that evil. You cannot hide that. So you have to make a difference. Reality that the world considers raping children evil. And they do believe that the highest society called the Illuminati have this rituals with Satan, and they drink blood from babies, and they have this conspiracy against humanity, and so I mean, just because whatever. I don't need to know the full story in detail, but you have to accept that this is the story in the world, and you are one of them. So all you have to do is put the young people here together fighting against this. Yeah. So we all have a member of the family that has been a pervert, more or less. Loving woman doesn't mean you're a pervert. Loving man doesn't mean you're a pervert. But they call that adultery. That is a way to control women and families in the old times, because it would be a mess to raise children then. But if women are independent and they can pay their bills, and men are independent and love their children, they don't abandon their children because the woman is not supplying the sex. They love the children because they had children to love them. And women can transcend them love and stop being so manipulative. So I do pray for one day that people in this world can live in peace. It is very dangerous to be happy. I would recommend people to have their happiness in privacy, because it's dangerous. People are so afraid of joy. It's the greatest evil of all evil. It's like a monster. It's a maddened person that can drive you crazy. And it's maybe giggling, just making people happy around. Not making a big fuss or like a circus, but simply caring. So if you want to be pervert, go on virtual reality and be a pervert. There are a lot of rules for that without going out of character, remaining in character. I see. In character. Out of character, OOC. I go in Twitter in characters. Just like, can you see I'm just acting? I truly mean it. That's not who I am or I want to be. Just need to say that loud to prove that you could say it with your real name and mean it. It has double strength because it's your real name. But who wants to be always screaming in Twitter? Should be a place where you share your innovations, your mansions into a village where you can track in the world, where is a mansion into a village next to you to stop there and help. Some people could be travelers and work from mansion to mansion in village. Some could be supported by church. Some could be supported by Buddhist monastery. Some could be supported by shamans of their culture. Uh, Doesn't matter. But it's open for people to work and be creative and show off what they're doing. Of course, there is fashion where it's fashion. I guess it's never gonna work in Twitter because that's just for people who follow famous people, or you want to check the news. People who want to be famous and tweet all the time just to have more tweets, and it's a job, part of the job. Politicians, news. That's yet to be seen. How would it work to make a better world with a globe, the map of a globe? When you really get to see how many intelligent people around the world there are, and that it's more important to think that you are the most intelligent person in this world as anyone who is a white male, you would bury your head under your ass. Not because of shame, but because you wouldn't want to be seen how stupid you are. So it is good to know the percentage of other people around the world, and for those who were first. But if I was first, you would never get it. Yeah. If I was first, because I invested in it, you could never get it. You could never get it. You could have machines, but you would never have a virtual reality multi-universe. It would never. You can have tweets, monologues, one-on-one, people copying content. I can guarantee that exists and will continue as it is. As much you postpone and look, as the pervert could be looking pornography, taking drugs, making believe that whatever you are aware in your mind because you have more, so they belong to you. You take from others to make your own. That is everyone's dickhead flag. This is my organization. This is my world order. This is my kingdom. This is my United States. This is my dickhead. This is my business to the Mars. Fuck the world. Yeah, for the environment. There are actually good people working in the United Nations who are suffering there every day. They don't even know what war crimes are, but they believe it would stop. But this is not the way to stop this. There is sadism. There is so much sadism. I don't understand the pleasure in that. I know it's the only hook to get people like you. So it's so cool. I have made 1,000 million stories of different kinds. So many people would never tell was me behind. Because I changed the way I write. I changed. Now I can't because it's gonna be misused to get people to applaud as if they're better, to misunderstand it. And it has nothing to do with writing. I only want to get away from this window and see it work and enjoy my private life, my family. That's it. So it's gonna be that way. One way or another, I'm gonna see it. Because I'm gonna go for it. Can be in the hands of your worst enemy. Remember that you cannot invest in me unless you devote to it. Because I will be watching. How far can you go? How far can you let go? That is far away from your asshole, mister. So far, you forget where you came from. The pussy of your mother, or you were thrown as a piece of shit. Another one. Because you might just fuck like eating food. Another one. Pff. It is true that abandoned children with busy mothers need a lot of care. So much they become control freaks. You have to let go, mister. So nobody tells you what to do, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. You can laugh about it if you want, if it makes you tickle. You can use your memes for auto relief. It has nothing to do with the real story. The real story happens in the air, never in the private. That's one of the rules of roleplay. The real stories that move, that really move, are those who are happening in the air. It's not such a big deal, but well. My God, have forgiveness, because I don't have. Why?